Neal, welcome back to another episode.
Thank you. Good to be here.
I think we're going to have a funny toned episode. I'm really excited about our guest today.
I am too. Why don't we roll the theme? We'll get into it.
Let's go.
Recorded live from Louisville, it's Talk About Town, the Louisville podcast. And now, your hosts, Neal Chad and Chad Hennessy.
Hey, Ron White here. I'm nowhere to be found. You're listening to Talk About Town, like I give a...
All right, Chad, quick, say something funny.
Funny.
I know that is always difficult, even if you're a professional comedian. If you're working clubs and bars and places all over the weekend, then your name might be Jeff Toy.
Yep, come on. Jeff Toy here. What's up, fellers?
Thanks for being here, Jeff.
Oh, happy to be here. Happy to be here.
So
Good here.
Jeff was on Talk About Town 1.0, and
right.
We've actually kind of blown it up to a bigger scale at this point. And I wanted to have Jeff back because he's kind of getting really visible as well. We're getting a little more visible. One of his credits, stand-up wise, almost open for Dave Chapelle.
That's
I've
right.
heard of that guy.
That's right. Dave Chapelle. That's right. We're buddies. We're tight.
And you darn near opened up for him.
That's right. Yeah, man. I guess it just laid the framework out here.
Yeah.
We had Chapelle, like, when he goes to a city, right, there's no marketing. He'll just, like, pop up like a week out or something, and then tickets will sell out, whatever. So this was a few months back now. Coworkers were all talking about Chapelle coming to Louisville Palace, and I thought nothing of it. It was in the morning. We're all sipping coffee. I'm like, I'm just going to make a Facebook status saying, I'm opening for Dave Chapelle at the Louisville Palace. Come on. Dude, like nothing, like just people going to be like, bull, whatever, And I was really busy that morning. So typically if I make a post or something, I'll check on it periodically or whatever. But being swamped that morning, I didn't check my phone until like 3 hours later. And it was already at like 300 likes, all these shares and comments, congratulations. I knew it. And like all these people are like so supportive, man. I'm like, dang, dude. I was like, all right, I can't. I'll worry about this later.
Let it ride.
Yeah. And then lunch, it was like 500. It was even more likes, even more shares. People were resharing it, tag me and all this. I'm like, unbelievable. But, well, hell, might as well keep it going.
Yeah.
Just to see how far. Because it went from the Facebook post to messaging a buddy about a flyer. And we used the Joe Rogan Chapelle flyer as reference. And that was all on Tuesday. Wednesday, I was making I had a fake manager. I was emailing WLKY about it and like being like, hey, I'm opening for Chapelle. I'm a local comedian here, love to talk about it. And had some buddies of mine that was going to be my entourage, like the whole get up, dude, like everything, man. WLKY kept on, they wanted me on. They're like, we'll get you on Monday morning. I was like, man, it's like between Wednesday and Monday, a lot could happen.
Yep.
And so WLKY put me on, or they put me in the books. But they kept on replying back to me being like, hey, the Palace is not confirming that you're on the lineup. Like, what's going on? I was like, I don't know what's going on.
That's rude.
Yeah, unbelievable. And, but what was, I had an old coworker of mine. She messaged me and she's like, hey, my husband who works for WOKY, the Louisville Palace isn't confirming what's going on. And I forgot that he worked there, but I was like, man, he's probably like a cameraman or something. No, he's like an executive producer.
Oh,
like,
that's hilarious.
Dude, like up there. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, all right, I can either like fake it out with her, because only a handful of folks knew about this, and which some people hated it. when I told them, I was like, oh man, I'm just messing around. Hated it. Some people loved it. They're like, dude, this is killer. This is like,
It's comedy.
yeah, that's what I was trying to tell. Man, the people who didn't like it, they were like, you're trying to take a shortcut. You know what I mean? There's no shortcuts in this business and all this other jazz or whatever. But
What they mean is, man, I wish I thought of that.
yeah, exactly, dude. Well, I just felt bad just because of how many people seem so supportive. Because I was thinking that the BS radar was going to go off. So for people to be like, and what it was because of the folks, it made it more legit because I had family members be like, I didn't believe it until I saw all the likes and shares. And that gave it more.
Jeff's really got this going on.
Yeah, I was like, dang, man. But with the coworker of mine, I told her I just spilled the beans, being like, maybe if they're cool, maybe they'll let me ride it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
They weren't too cool.
oh, she hated it, dude. She was like, he's a Grammy Award winner or some, whatever the news people win, right?
Well, hey, it's one way to make a name for yourself.
That's what I'm saying, man. Well, that's what I had no intentions on trying to, because some people were mad being like, are you going to do all this to try to open for them, like for real? And I'm like, hey, if it works out, if it does, but none of it was just, it was just like each day there was something new going on. So just being like, I can't stop here. Like I can't make this Facebook status and then an hour later be like, oh, I was just kidding.
Ride it.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So after WLKY fell through and my old coworker found out, I was like, dude, I'm done. This is it. But my brother-in-law was like, dude, you got to push on. You got to keep on. You're already 4 days in, So I contacted WDRB and they were game as well. They put me in the same time slot as WLKY. So I was just like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And, but so while this is going on, this is Thursday, I'm having panic attacks, dude. I'm not a prank guy, and I've never done anything like this prior. So when I saw statuses and people were like, oh, I'm getting tickets, like my boy Jeff, and just every day people were, pretty supportive. And it was just like, dude, it was just brutal, man. And so Monday comes around, I go to WDRB, on site, through the gate. And dude, I'm sweating, dude. I'm pit stains. But the thing is, dude, I'm wearing safety glasses. I had my Marlboro Reds hat on, just looking like the biggest cracker ever.
You ever see Reservoir Dogs?
Yeah.
It's the scene of the guy in the bathroom that's smuggling drugs with the cops.
Exactly.
Yep,
That's
I
what
know.
it is. Yeah. Dude, I didn't even have, I had somewhat of a script in my head because I knew it was going to be basic, which it was. I got in there and it was pretty basic, interview questions, how long you been doing comedy. And,
Yeah.
But what was a bummer was a small talk prior because this guy who interviewed me also went to the same university I went to. He went to WKU, so we made
There you go. Toppers, baby.
oh yeah, man. That was well, that's what made me feel more bad because we were fellowshipping, just bull crapping together, and he seems like a nice guy, but they just didn't check their sources.
Right.
But they were he's like, so how did you get on with Chapelle? And I was like, man, I'm just making it happen, man. Just making it very broad with my answers. And, but eventually I had to I thought there was a few questions that I answered that I was like, I'm talking in circles. I don't even,
Right.
so I was I'm like, oh man, I'm his, Midwest opener, if he's ever in town, kind of just dude, it was bad, man. So that was Monday at 10:30. By Monday evening, it was 4:00 news. 3:45, I'm on their front page on their website.
What?
Dude, it's insane. So there was something going on where 10,000 people died, which was a bummer. And then me, and then some mayor somewhere was in trouble. It was just bad news there. And then, I didn't see an article. I just saw my picture, the cover page, but apparently there was an article about it, the interview questions, and they were going to air it, but at 4:00, they took it down. Ooh. So either the Louisville Palace contacted them, somebody who knew who was butthurt might have contacted them, but I got the screenshots. So that was like,
Got that.
dude. So this was everybody. So I was like posting stuff as this was going on, like stories on my Instagram or Facebook pictures or statuses. So I was like at the WDRB, like, hey, everybody, what's up? So they took that down, and there was people who were commenting, being like, hey, where's your, I didn't see the news, or I didn't see this. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. What is it? But so that was Monday, because Chapelle had two shows. He had a show Tuesday and a show Wednesday. So I've already gone this far. I'm on the news. Tuesday, I show up at the Palace.
Hell yeah, you do.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm going all in.
Go all the way.
Because I got there like 2 hours early, and it was already packed.
Yep.
Like the lines were packed, and I knew about a back door. And I talked to a lawyer, or like somebody helps you. You know, I made sure that what I was doing was
Wasn't gonna get you in like big trouble. Or something
exactly.
Like that, yeah.
They're like, the worst that could happen is like trespassing if you do get inside. And they're like, that's probably about it. So I was like, all right, it's fine. This is good.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting anywhere. There was a security guard in the back. I was like, I showed him the news article. I showed him like all this stuff, being like, hey man, I'm on the show. He wasn't having it. I talked to like 2 or 3 people up front that just kept on pointing me to somebody else. And I was like, man, I don't want to talk, because I knew who they were pointing me to was probably the main person.
Mm-hmm.
I had a buddy of mine. He knows everybody. He's Eric Kimbrough. He's a comedian here. Very funny dude. Opened for Cat Williams a few years ago.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So killer dude, killer comic. A lot more vocal than I was, because I was still a little shy and like scared. But when he showed up, he was like, hey, Jeff Toy, it's my boy. He's opening for Chapelle, like yelling it at the crowd and all this. And I was like, even more like geared up, like just.
You're like, am I going to just suddenly be on stage?
Dude, that's what I was like, this is happening, man. And we eventually did talk to the GM, brought us into like this box office room. And he's like, all right, who are you? And I'm like, I'm Jeff Toy. I was on WDRB. He was like, well, who said that you could be on the show? I was like, Chapelle did. And he's like, well, let me see. Well, what I did prior was this, like, had a buddy of mine conversation between me and him, like he was Chapelle. And so we just like cropped it
text.
out. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. We just like, I Snapchat it cropped. Like you can cut it out. And I'm like, yeah, Chapelle said I can open for him. And I showed him the text message. Dude, it was brutal, man. And he's like, all right, I'll be right back. So we're in the box office for like 10, 15 minutes. And he comes back out. He's like, all right, follow me. We follow him. He's like, all right, we know that news article got taken down. We know that you're out here self-promoting. He says, stand right here and don't go anywhere. And dude, but I'm telling you, when I talked about the panic attacks leading up to this, all of it came at once.
You're like, I'm about to be in the paddy wagon.
Dude, that's the thing is, like, I knew of all the repercussions and what could happen, and I played everything out in my mind. And I don't blame Eric, but I do. So Eric was like from me to this door over here. And I look at Eric, I was like, dude, he told me not to go anywhere. I was like, I'm about to take off. And I don't know if he didn't hear me or what, but he was like on his phone, like looking at it, and he's like, oh, no. And I'm like, dude, I'm about to run, dude. Because I was like, and dude, it's so anticlimactic, dude. I do all this shit for a whole week. I'm right there. And I run off. I run away, man. I just sprint. And I'm going to tell you, I'm in work boots, like this bright shirt, dude, that has like flaps. I'm pretty sure it's a woman's shirt. And I just start booking it to where, like, to the parking garage. And dude, you're talking about a wave of guilt and like, just like, what are you doing? Because I wanted to turn back around and be like, no. But I was like, and apparently what happened is I called Eric and I was like, dude, I got scared, dude. And he's like, man, the guy said, he's like, where did you, he's like, he asked why you were running. He said, they were going to let us in, man. They were going to let us in. And I was like, no, man, whatever. I was like, no way. And he was I think he was messing with me. I'm not sure. But eventually he did say this guy told him that he's like, yeah, I've dealt with this guy before. He does this to city.
Talking about you.
Yeah, talking about me. I'm like, I was like, I don't think so. I'll take that cred though, because he said I got arrested at one city for trying to do this. But dude, all of this, I'm like, dude, this is crazy. I'm documenting. I make a video about it.
Smart.
But Tuesday night, I was like, I knew people that were going to the show. So Tuesday night, I was up until like 3 a.m. Tuesday working on this video because I had to post it Wednesday. Because I was like, people are already calling me out. They're like tagging me on Facebook, like, Jeff, where were you, dude? Like, what's this?
I'm opening Tuesday.
Yeah, that's Wednesday's second show, man.
Yeah.
But boils down, did all that just to run off, and make the video. People loved the video. Some people were like, dude, this is better than you opening for Chapelle, which was nice. And a lot of the people that were really supportive also really were supportive of this.
That's cool.
Prank.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's much love, dude. And people that were hating on it, I just had like maybe 3 or 4 people that were hating. One of them, I saw like a post, he was talking smack about me, about lying.
Were they people you knew or strangers?
People I knew. One of them was a good friend. He was like, dude, you're lying, dude. Derek is a friend of ours, and he's excited for you. Well, come to find out, a week later, when I made the video, Derek was like, dude, I had a rough day at work, and I loved your video. I was like, dude, see, man, like, just because it, may ruffle little feathers here and there doesn't mean that it's not going to turn out bad.
Jeff, do you do a lot of like social media, like videos and things like that?
Yeah, I try to.
Self-promote, yeah.
It's like you're talking about going down the comedy route, like, back in the day, like the Jerry Seinfeld and stuff, like, you just did comedy. Like, you just did comedy, you toured. Now it does seem like it has to have like a resume builder to have a following of sorts.
Makes sense.
Because it's like the way I see it now, which is happening, is a lot of like TikTokers or YouTubers are going into comedy, and they're already selling out shows because they're already,
they have the following.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're like self-made celebs.
Oh,
basically.
yeah. And that's all a club wants anyways, is for you to buy out seats so they can buy drinks and foods. And
Well, I haven't talked a lot about this on the show, I think, but as far as interests of mine go, one of my top passions is stand-up comedy.
you got to do it, dude.
Yeah, not and consuming it, not doing it.
Yeah.
But my love for it has I have started writing a little bit. And I know one thing that I heard recently is the way that it goes now, that 30-minute or 60-minute special that you're putting out is actually an advertisement for your tour.
Yeah.
It used to be like the goal was to get an HBO hour.
Yeah.
So now, like the Netflix series or whatever it is, it's like, okay, so Chapelle, for instance, before he goes on tour, he's going to cut a 30, 45-minute Netflix show or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Or, the people are putting their specials out for free on YouTube now, which almost would never happen before because they're like, holding on to it. Like, I can't release this. And once it's out there, I can't really do these jokes anymore.
Yeah.
And so you put that out there. And I guess if you do it right, you put it out there and then you have new material for the tour after.
Yeah. See, that's a weird thing when people talk about when they post, their special and they're like, I can't do. I've heard some comics say that they'll still do some of the hits, which I'm like, I don't see the big deal in that.
Sure.
Like, I mean, it's a little different than a song. Like if you're a band,
right?
And you're like, oh, free bird, it's like, like tell that one joke, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I went and saw a drive-in movie theater show comics back in like the height of COVID.
Yeah, yeah.
And
who'd you see?
Nate Bargatze.
Oh yeah,
who is amazing.
Yeah, have you like his Nate Land podcast?
So I don't love that podcast.
Yeah, it's a acquired taste.
It is. It's slow, and I really like him. His 2 dudes with him, they're not special to me.
Yeah, yeah.
So if I'm taking a nap, if I'm going to take a nap, I'll throw that in and help me go to sleep. But
I hope they hear this.
Yeah. But him,
yeah,
he's brilliant. And when we went and saw him, he did I'd say maybe 50-50 new and old.
Yeah.
He brings back some of the classics then.
Yeah, but it wasn't so much that. It was like he hadn't crafted the full special yet. And it was a little bit disappointing, but I'm okay with it.
So I'm noticing that too, where comics they'll post jokes on their social media. And so if you follow them pretty tight, you'll like there's a Mark Norman came to Lexington about a year ago. Mm-hmm. And dude, a lot of his stuff I've already seen on YouTube or on Instagram just because he was sharing it, which I guess it can have its pros and cons. You know what I mean? Like there's a comedian, Dusty Slay from Nashville.
Yep.
He
friends with Nate Bargatze.
Yeah. I like to think we're buddies too, me and Dusty.
Nice.
But no big deal. Or anything.
So basically, you're best friends with Nate Bargatze.
Yeah. It's 3 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. We'll play that game.
But he was on Netflix, the stand-ups.
Yep.
And dude, I heard everything that he did on Netflix. I've already heard.
Right.
But on his podcast, he admitted to it. He was like, "That's my tight set." He's like, "That's my half hour."
Yep.
So I mean, if you have to repeat it on different sources, I mean, whatever.
And I would have to think some of these guys. Tell me if I'm right, Jeff. I mean, if you were to be at the point where you're booking all over the country, you probably have one act that you're doing, over and over, that hour, 45 minutes, whatever it is. But if you've got your occasional, you're probably working on new material between the club show this Friday and then, hey, I'm going to be back in 2 Fridays. I'm going to work on something new or something like that.
Yeah. Well, it's like I've been noticing common theme here lately is it's unfortunate, but if I go out of town, I get more time. Just because they're like, you've drove all this way, we'll let you close the show or, what have you. So like last weekend I was in Indianapolis and I did 30 minutes. But out of that 30, some of it was like riffing, like either like things that I've had like a premise that you just say out loud. You're like, I got all this time anyways, might as well try out some newer stuff.
Yeah.
And what's exciting about that is like then, because I try to record all my sets, then I can go back and tweak it's like I said this joke once, more of like a story format because I was just spitting it out, riffing.
Yeah.
Now I can go back and fine tune it. But I kind of bounce back and forth. Like if I got a show that I'm like, okay, this is going to be kind of low key, I'll throw out newer stuff. But I got a show this weekend at the Planet of the Tapes.
Where's that at?
It's off of take Broadway, like you're kind of going towards Bardstown Road. It's near Diamonds.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. But unfortunately, they're closing in October.
Oh,
so
big.
that sucks. But they, Brent, I don't know his last name. Dang, I can't pronounce it. I can't pronounce it. But he's big. His videos he's a guy with red beard. He does a lot of these videos in his car. That's kind of what he's bigger known for. But anyways, he's doing a show this weekend, and I'm I'm hosting. So hosting is a whole nother bag of hammers. Where I'm like more crowd interaction in the beginning. Welcome to the
Kind of get them revved up.
Yeah. So depending on what's going on, I kind of tweak, the time or tweak what jokes I'm going to take out or whatever.
Right. Well, I think it's kind of, some people think that a stand-up comedian is that way just because they're funny and you just go up on the stage and be funny. But it's crafted over, sometimes years.
Well, it's just like even a musician. Sure, they may be able to pick up a guitar, but if you're going to want them to play a song, they have to learn the song,
right,
and practice it and perfect it. So
that's where you can tell, like, if people kind of study stand up or not. You can tell, like, people are like, "Oh man, I loved Robin Williams, man. He's so like he'll just go up there and say whatever." I'm like, nah, that was pretty fine tuned.
It's planned.
Yeah, it looks. I mean, that's what you want anyway.
that's what makes them the best.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got to look like you look like you're, just saying it for the first time.
Right. Well, I'll have to plug my favorite podcast. That's Kill Tony.
All right.
So Jeff, before we went on the air, we were chatting about it a little bit. It is, you can find it on YouTube is where I watch it, but it's different places as well. And it's an open mic. They do it in Austin now. It used to be in LA. It's been going on since 2013. Each person though gets 1 minute. And then after that minute, and you're pulled out of a bucket. And after that minute, he spends probably 5 to 10 minutes with you, interviewing / roasting you.
I gotta check it out.
Brutal.
It's hilarious. I think it's the best thing on the internet.
Yeah. I think it's hard for me to watch just because, dude, at 1 minute, 5 minutes is already tough enough. But just to have 1 minute and then get critique by that 1 minute, insane, dude.
Well, what I think is funny is when someone comes up there and dies, and he's like, "You've had years to work on this minute," and that's the best you can do.
The comedian I was telling you about earlier, her name's Felicia. She's from New York. That's when I met her. She was traveling, but she drove from Florida to Austin to be on Kill Tony, and that's like, for her to have that luck of doing all that driving and then she got her name pulled out, like that's, and I don't know, man, a clip, like I've seen some people that seem like, I don't know if they blew up or not, but I'll see a Kill Tony clip and then shortly after I see their name all over. So,
I'd have to think like anything. If the right person, right time sees it, hears it.
Yeah.
And then it's got to be a stroke of luck as well.
Yeah, I think it is too, man.
Yeah. Well, cause he'll have regulars, that do a new minute each week, like 2 or 3 of them, to it kind of keeps the format together. And one of his newest regulars, he's been around, I don't know, 6 or 9 months, Hans Kim.
Is that the same guy that he got in trouble for?
No.
Oh, okay. This different
guy.
Asian guy.
Yes, different Asian guy. Well, it was, I think part of the reason he made him a regular was like, oh, I got canceled, in quotes, for making an Asian joke. So he's like, I'm not racist. I'm just crass, And he's like, so he picks up Hans Kim. Well, Hans Kim was he started in Seattle, then worked in New York, then went down to Austin, and was living in his van, doing comedy, open mics as much as he can, gets the regular spot on Kill Tony, and now he is flying private jets and opening arenas for Joe Rogan.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
That's the thing, dude. That is the by the book making it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there's so many people that I know doing that. Like I know a handful of comics right now that living in their car, doing
tough,
that process. You know what I mean? And that's, I don't know, man. That's a whole nother route.
Are they in Austin?
No, I know a couple folks that are in Portland, Oregon, and I know one dude who just straight up just travels.
He just roves.
Yeah.
Is it better to kind of plant yourself, like if you're known just as a regional, for instance, Indy, Cincy, Louisville, that you're in this area?
Man, that's what I've been torn about, because I've been trying to eyeball Nashville more, like this idea of wanting to move down there and like really hammer it hard. But it's also like between social media and like trying to get a name for yourself locally and then trying to disperse or whatever. But I don't know, man. I think it's whatever your goals are. Yeah. Like if you're like, single dude or whatever, like, hell, you got all the time in the world to do that. But it makes it a little bit more difficult when you're trying to like balance family and job and all this other crap. But
Jeff, are you from here in Louisville?
I grew up in Bullitt County, Shepherdsville.
That counts.
Yeah, dude. Close enough.
That's how I originally know Jeff, because I used to work in Bullitt County.
That's right.
As a teacher. Jeff was a student of mine, now a buddy. And, when you're a teacher, which I'm not anymore, but I still, have that in me.
Yeah.
There's no better reward from that than seeing people thrive that you taught.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great.
Which is funny enough, because art teacher.
Yep.
And when I went to WKU, I didn't know what I wanted to do. You remember like Donna Schmidt, Miss Schmidt?
Absolutely.
Her.
Shout out Donna Schmidt.
Neal Patrick.
Patrick Neal.
There it is, Patrick
who is
Neal.
Probably my closest friend even today.
Is he doing good?
Doing very well.
That's awesome. That's good. I love them. I'm glad that they helped me out, because they really kind of pushed me to go to school.
Yep.
But I didn't know what I wanted to. I had an art degree for like a semester. because I was like, oh, I like to draw. Like just, but that's a whole nother bag of hammers because that was like every semester changing my degree. Just being like,
and I know who you're married to. I don't know her very well, but she was like a very motivated kind of student, right? And you're just like, yeah, man, I'm just here to party.
Yeah, I mean, whatever, dude.
Do you ever make your way down to Bowling Green for acts and stand up? Or
I did. I've done a show there once before, but like there's a weird. It's a weird balance between like knowing bookers, and like knowing folks who put on shows and or contacting people who put on shows. Because I try to reach out as much as I can, like emails or Instagram or whatnot. But I get a good balance of like people reaching out to me, being like, "Hey, do you want to do such and such show on this date?" That's pretty sweet. But as far as like there's what we were talking about earlier, but the alternative scene, like there's shows in clubs, which would be great. That's the dream. But a lot of folks, that's a small percentage really of people who do like shows or, headliners and whatnot. But there's a large part of the community where they're like, we can do it at this bar, we can do it at this place. Somebody has a big backyard, that alternative scene, I guess. So I've been kind of dabbling my feet into that waters really, just because they book me too.
Yeah.
if they pay you.
Yeah.
Speaking of Chapelle, I know he did, I think it was after he came back from Africa and he wanted to get his chops back.
Yeah.
He'd just take a mic and a speaker and go like in a park somewhere and start talking. And then before you know it, he's got a huge crowd around him.
That's wild, dude. I mean, that's like that weird balance. You get to a certain status where people just like you. So then it's like really hard to judge how your material's doing because people are going to laugh at, they're already fans of yours. So for him just to like, because I've heard stories, he would go to like clubs, like some random bar and like just talk for like 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
And that's just, dude, that's a whole lot of talking.
Yes,
and that's
it
a lot
is.
of, like filtering through how you want to word your joke or how you have to set up and punch. But speaking of Chapelle again, there's a comic in Nashville. She apparently knew somebody that was in like his entourage. She sent him that video I made being like, hey, maybe this will get Chapelle, your name out there, whatever. The dude replied back saying this happens all the time.
Really?
I was like, dude, what? How's it? I haven't heard of this. I got on, I was on the news. I did all this. And then I guess what he probably meant, like, this happens all the time, like people trying to open for Chapelle. But
Or people like sending a clip of something.
Yeah.
Could have been that as well.
You ought to follow back up with the DRB and LKY and say, hey, I have this show, so-and-so coming up or whatever like that.
Well, I did. I messaged Cat Williams this morning.
Nice.
Being like, whatever, dude. He's coming in September.
I think a lot of it is probably just time spent sending out messages, putting content, just stuff.
Yeah, I guess the grind, in my opinion, is like you got to find time to write jokes. You got to get time to go up on stage. And that's either like open mics or shows or however you can get up on stage. Doing the content, the videos or whatever, doing the podcasting. It's like, dude, it bums me out because I got an 8-hour, I got a day
regular job. Yeah.
And I was like, man, if I could take away the day job to focus on the content, the videos, the websites, all this. I mean, that's like that's the whole rolling the dice or whatever. It's like, what if I could quit? What if I quit my day job and just put all time into this? How long? Because I know people who do it all the time, and like some of them fail and they have to reapply for their job again. But there's a guy up in Bloomington right now he's touring because that's what he did. He quit his day job, just dived in 100%, and now he's doing it.
Yeah.
Jeff, before we started, you said that you just had a baby. Is that right?
Yeah, had a boy.
Makes it tough, I'm sure, to just quit and go for it.
Man, it's a little bit, but I don't know. He's actually more motivating in that route.
Mm-hmm. I can
Whereas before, most people be like, oh, I got to hammer down on day job stuff. And now I'm like,
Well, something like that is going to have a higher ceiling, higher bar of entry to get it there, but it's limitless.
The reward's endless. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like him. He's helped me out a lot where it's like, I don't know. It's like having a kid. I don't know. You fellas got kids?
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I got them.
There's he makes me like care less about people, like opinions and stuff. You know, so if I'm eating it on stage, I'm like, I got a kid at home who loves me. I got a wife at home. Like none of this doesn't matter.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know,
It kinda,
like,
That's awesome.
lets you go a little, hang loose a little bit.
yeah.
Well, and we talked earlier about, people putting hateful stuff on some of your content and everything. I do a lot of video and social media kind of marketing stuff for my day job.
Yeah.
And it takes a little getting used to, but then after a while it's like, oh, people just want to be miserable.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, I think people, I've been pretty lucky as far as like comments and goes, like, cause the majority of people who do comment pretty positive. They're like, hey man, funny video, whatever. So that's pretty nice. But every now and then there'll be one being like, this guy thought about this video, he made the video, and he thought this was going to be funny. I was like, dang, dude, like,
Yeah.
whatever, man.
But it hurts a little bit.
But I almost kind of enjoyed. There's a video that one of my first viral, I guess, videos was on Facebook, and it was me throwing I drive flatbed tractor trailers, and I was throwing a strap over a box, and I did it in slow motion, like it was just stupid. Dude, people were like hating on like how I threw it. Like it's like you threw the chain side, because other truckers I don't know. It was a whole thing, but it was people hating on it.
Yeah.
But I just made a video out of the hateful comments.
That's great.
So, I mean, it worked out.
I have an ad. I'm pretty sure it's still running, and it's been running a long time. And it essentially, the gist of it is, pack your bags and move to Louisville. Here's 8 awesome things about it or something.
Yeah.
And I'd say most of the comments are negative, but I have a lot of my ads, if there's somebody being hateful, I'll just delete it and move on.
Yeah.
This one, I have left it open, and I've responded to a lot of them. And one example is somebody said something like, don't move to Louisville, you'll get shot. And I said, oh man, I'm really sorry to hear you were shot. And he said, oh no, I moved out of there. It was 5 years ago or something. So it's like, well, then you really don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, dude.
It's social media. I mean, whether it be Twitter, Instagram.
Twitter's crazy.
It's just a cesspool. It's insane.
It is, man. And human nature, we're negative too. It's like you get home from work, hey, how was work? And it's like you want to point out the bad stuff first.
Yeah.
But if anybody comments, it's probably going to be a hateful comment first before it. Which is whatever, dude. I mean, hell, that's whatever gets the algorithm going.
That's right.
I was like, dude, it could be all hate.
Jeff, do you have anything coming up here soon?
I got this weekend at Planet Tapes, and I don't know. I'm pretty open right now. I'm going in. I actually got some next July 18th, getting my man boobies removed.
All right.
Hey now, got a medical problem. Fully transitioning to a man.
Do you get to keep them?
I wish I could.
Just pour them in resin or something?
I'll donate them or something if someone else wants them. No, it's a medical issue, gynecomastia, and it's a hormone imbalance issue. More popular in the bodybuilding community. Like if you take The Rock had man boobs.
I think I've heard of this. Yeah.
But unfortunately, like no matter how many push-ups, whatever, it's a gland that develops. Makes them. Put it this way: I had a chest tattoo. I got a chest tattoo. Posted it on Instagram. It got taken down for nudity.
Oh wow.
Stuff like that. It kind of hurts.
Yeah.
Like,
what the hell, man?
Yeah. But so that surgery's coming up, which that's all of that. I mean, I was pretty embarrassed about my man boobs, but knowing that they'll be gone soon, I'm like, dude, I'm all out. I'm all in now.
Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought about keeping them. Maybe that's what my ticket to social media fame is.
That's right.
But I was like, dude, I don't want these titties no more.
Well, and I've seen here and there, like you've already gotten into the orbit of some people with some pretty big names, which has been really cool to see.
Oh, it's wild, man. Like you said, like luck earlier. Like I got to get, you got to pat yourself on the back, and I am thankful for like the luck or like who I bumped into. But yeah, man, it's like the man titty thing I bring up. Like I talked to Theo Vaughn, who's a big comedian. He's kind of a bigger name. Talked to him about it. And then like fast forward, he wanted to interview a female trucker, and my mom's a trucker. So he kind of knew of me. So we got my mom on his podcast, was pretty wild. And then like,
I know you were chatting with Mark Norman at one time. Isn't that true?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
but with him, what was cool about that is because my mom was on Theo Vaughn gave us some money for being on.
Mm-hmm.
And I had $100. And I messaged Mark Norman. I was like, "Hey, can I interview you? I got $100." And he's like, "Yeah, sure."
huh.
I don't have a podcast or nothing. I was just like, "Oh shit, I'm interviewing this guy." Yeah,
That's
now
awesome.
I can make it happen now.
Well, it's funny, and it's kind of a reflection of my love of stand-up. And the theme of this show is the real, actual Ron White in here, which that was a paid thing. But I actually reached out to a handful of other folks and were like, "Hey, would you be interested in doing this? Or would you do it?" And hardly anybody replied at all. Do you know Joe List?
Yeah, I know Joe List.
Hilarious guy. I message him. I say, hey, what would somebody do if they wanted you to record a little intro for a podcast? And his reply was like, "Not that." I was like, "Oh, damn." Yeah. He's hilarious though.
Dude, that's what I've had a pretty good argument with a comic. It was pretty awkward actually, because it was me, the driver, it was the three of us. So there's a comic in the back seat, I was in the passenger, and the guy was driving. Dude, looking back, it's a lame argument, but we were pretty much back and forth about the importance of like your social media following and all this. And I told him that I messaged Mark Norman asking to open for him. Dude, they hated that. They were like, you can't message comedians and ask them. That's a booker's job. Which I was like, I kind of understood where they were coming from, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, it's still shooting a shot. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
But the back and forth, where I was getting at with this. Oh, it's just like reaching out to other comedians, or like if the social media thing even does matter. And dude, it was like a pretty good back where it got to a point where I'm like, dude, I was like, you're starting to piss me off.
Yeah.
like making it clear, I don't know. It's stupid. It was like a dumb little argument, but I'm trying to figure out what the whole point was around that. But there's that. There's
just
that.
Talking.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what we're doing. I think our listeners would love, we're trying to support local. Yep. And everybody wants to see a local boy do good. So, that'd be great.
No, I appreciate it. Well, that's the thing. Like, that's the big uproar about local comedians or even like bands, I'm sure, that they just want to be able to do good hometown.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then there's so many folks, I think they feel like they have to leave to get more time, or like, I'm not calling anybody out, but like there's the Louisville Comedy Club that just opened up, fairly new. And then there's the Caravan.
Yep.
So there's two clubs there. And I may not be doing everything by the book, but I like to think I'm a pretty decent known dude. I don't get nothing. And I've emailed them a few times and multiple times. I actually emailed the Louisville Comedy Club about twice a month asking to do something.
No replies.
No.
We'll have to go do one of the open mics together. I'll get
Wednesday.
Because I've
So they have open mics though, I guess, right?
I've messed around on paper a little bit. We'll get there, and I'll go with you and do it.
Well, that's another thing, man. Talking about the grind earlier, and I think some of it, what it is I'm not there supporting. You know what I mean? Which is a bummer because I want to, but I don't want to be somewhere where I'm not doing time, and that's what's tough.
I get that.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some folks, and it's all politics. There's politics and everything, but I see some folks that they're always there and they're getting some opportunities and everyone's kind of scratching their head like, why is such and such getting opportunities? It's like, well, because they're there all the time. Which, who's to say? But hell, we see people on Netflix that suck.
Right.
And you're like, dude, how are you here?
Well, and it's a little bit annoying. Lexington has a better club than Louisville does.
The Comedy Off Broadway.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice, man.
My wife and I saw Tom Segura there.
Oh, yeah.
Last year, I think it was. And it's like, do what? Tom Segura is coming where?
Yeah.
And it was cool. When they're kind of, when they're doing that, they're working on that next hour. So it's not all tight yet. But I'll be excited to see his next special. Be like, oh, I kind of remember that joke. Or something.
Oh yeah. Well, dude, that's what I don't know what it is, man. It's like I don't know. It's like what I was saying earlier. Like a lot of the top dogs have been doing it like 10 plus years. So to get any, which I'm not discouraged at all. Like I've been in the game 4.5, 5 years, still new.
Yep.
And that's why I see a lot of folks come and go so quickly because they'll be eating it. And they're just like, I can't do this. And I was like, dude, you haven't even gave yourself time to modify a joke, have a type 5.
Yeah.
Well, I know some of us, we got hard outs, we got kids to pick up and such. How can folks find you, Jeff?
Oh, yeah. Jeff Toy Zero on the Instagram and the TikToks.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Toy on YouTube. Jeff Toy on Facebook. There's another Jeff Toy out there. That's my uncle.
Okay.
He's probably not as funny.
No, he's all right.
And
He did the band thing.
What's your home address? No, I'm just kidding. Cool.
I give out my phone number.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of phone numbers, real quick, funny enough, I had my phone number on one of my videos by accident. Some dude from Iowa called. Just randomly called. He's like, hey, man, I saw your number on TikTok. Thought I would call it. It was tight, actually. I was like, damn, all right, dude. I got his name saved and everything.
Yeah, let's go. Well, cool. On that note, everybody look for Jeff. Be out there. He'll be around. Hopefully people won't be able to avoid seeing you here soon.
Hell yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Jeff, with your next things that are coming up, let us know, and we'll make sure to push it out, man.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Thanks, y'all.
Come on.
Come on.
Thank you for listening. You can reach us at neal@talkabouttownky.com. Neal is a realtor with Judah Real Estate Group. Chad is a partner at Insuramax. You can reach him at chadh@insuramax.com. Check us out on the web at talkabouttownky.com. Go Cards!